Hello everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here. And I figured I've been away from the DBZ universe for a while, mostly because I have to do the review of GT, which I am still working on, don't worry. And yes, I will do the specials as well and the sagas. Just give me time, people. Anyway, I wanted to do this because I've been away from the DBZ universe for a while, and I'm actually trying to get into a lot of other anime topics as well, because I've watched over hundreds of anime series. I just never got the time to talk about them. But I figured since DBZ is my favorite anime, I need to show it a little bit more love. The only reason I've showed Pokemon as much love as it has is because Pokemon is a series that's still running, while DBZ is more or less over with the exception of the movies that keep coming out. Anyway, I want to just jump on into this one now because I see a lot of misconception when it comes to the DBZ universe about this particular topic, and the topic is more or less Super Saiyan transformations. I wanted to say just transformations in general, but several characters in the series' transformations work in various different ways. Super Saiyan's probably the most staple and the most iconic, as well as the most known transformation, but it's also the most technologically confusing if you can't break it down to a science, or at least break it down to its overall structure. A lot of people will state things like, oh my god, this character's this strong, how come they can't turn Super Saiyan? Or, oh my god, this character can power up to this level, but they can't turn Super Saiyan. What the hell, this character's this strong and they're not a Super Saiyan 2 or anything. I want to let this be known right now and break down the overall topic of this discussion. Super Saiyan is not a level of power. I know I just confused a lot of you all right there, but here's the thing. A lot of people seem to forget that Super Saiyan is not a level of power, it's a technique that is unlocked by Saiyans based on certain conditions. Let's go over them. The first one in the series, canonically, is Goku. However, if you want to get super technical, Broly's the first Super Saiyan. And if you really want to count that Bardock special, he's the first Super Saiyan, I guess. Anyway, and then you can make the argument that there's several other Super Saiyans, like the Super Saiyan God from the Battle of Gods before Goku turned into it. But if we want to get on a serious note from like the saga onwards and the TV show and the manga and everything, Goku's the first one to actually transform into the legendary status of Super Saiyan. And this was triggered based on his human-like emotions and his overall friendship with Krillin, and that being completely torn away when Frieza killed him on planet Namek, which triggered anger that made him large enough in order to transform into a Super Saiyan. The next person to transform in the series was Trunks. Seeing the loss of his overall best friend Gohan and the destruction in the android's wake, and losing the only best friend that he ever had in the entire world, caused the sadness and anger mixture in order to transform him Super Saiyan. Gohan transformed Super Saiyan in two different ways. If you count future Gohan, he states that he transformed Super Saiyan based off all the destruction and terror of losing everybody that he loved and knowing that he had nothing to do in the status of power that he was currently. So he transformed Super Saiyan in order to fight off against the androids. Then we look at Gohan in the main timeline, and he states that every time his friends or family go off to fight, they could be in danger and he doesn't have enough power to make an overall difference. This overall sadness and grieving makes him transform Super Saiyan. But before that, Vegeta ended up transforming Super Saiyan right after that whole event, because Vegeta was upset with himself and angered with the fact that he couldn't transform Super Saiyan, yet Goku could. This overall anger, as well as not caring whether he lived or died, basically bursted him into a state of emotional crisis that transformed him into a Super Saiyan. This is how all of the main characters around this timeline are transformed Super Saiyan. Goten and Kid Trunks are there too as Super Saiyans, but the way they transform is very stupid and doesn't have any emotional value whatsoever. So it doesn't have any emotific-like meaning. It's just they turn Super Saiyan because. I want to go ahead and just state that it's probably because Goku and Vegeta were at higher levels of power when they conceived them. So, in theory, they became stronger because of their conception. So yeah, it's Super Saiyan to them is natural. A natural, somewhat hereditary trait. They were born without tails, and I'm guessing tails was a hereditary trait that was given to Gohan. So, yeah. But let's talk about the Super Saiyan transformation as a whole. So far in the series, four people could transform Super Saiyan before Kid, Trunks, and Goten. We had Trunks, Gohan, Goku, and Vegeta as the main candidates to transform Super Saiyan. Now, here's the thing. All of these people were at different levels of power when they achieved Super Saiyan. It is arguably to state that Vegeta was probably stronger than base form Goku when he turned Super Saiyan, strictly off the fact that he had got brought back to life after being killed by Frieza. And as we can all know, the Zenkai that Saiyan characters have allows them to come back and become much stronger than their previous selves were when they faced near death or death in the DBZ universe, which allows them to come back twice as strong as they were when they died. So, with this said, Vegeta was stronger than Goku at this point, but he wasn't able to turn Super Saiyan because he didn't have an emotional trigger that was strong enough to transform him Super Saiyan. So some of you all make the argument, how come they're not able to transform Super Saiyan if they reach a certain level of power? This is where I bring in my main topic of what I was stating. Super Saiyan isn't a level of power. It is a technique that increases the power level of an already made Saiyan. Let's say, for example, for funny's sakes, that there is a Saiyan that can only lift about 5 pounds. Yeah, that's funny within its own rights. He can only lift 5 pounds. His limit is 5 pounds. However, if he transforms Super Saiyan, the average transformation of Super Saiyan increases your power by overall 50%. That means that when you transform Super Saiyan, you are 50 times stronger than you already were. 50 times 5 is 250. That means that this Saiyan can no longer lift 5 pounds. This Saiyan now has the ability to lift 250 pounds instead of just 50. Why? Because the Super Saiyan transformation only made him 50 times stronger than his already stated body. There is no real record of Goku's strength once he fought Frieza because scouters at this point were completely irrelevant. So there was no way to really measure Goku's power at this level. There have been speculations, and even the Daizenshu makes a overall status of Goku's power at Super Saiyan, but we're not going to look that far into it. As far as we're concerned, once Goku was able to reach a level that broke the scouters, that was the point in which the scouters were irrelevant. Because of this, when he transformed Super Saiyan, he became 50 times stronger than himself, easily allowing him to outmatch Frieza in final form. Not 100% form though, because Frieza was literally only using about 50% of his power when he fought against Goku. Then he made it to 100%, which allowed him to surpass Goku. The only reason that Frieza ended up losing the fight overall was because 100% power was too much strain for Frieza to maintain the perfect form, and he ended up getting tired. Goku was able to take advantage of this because he was able to maintain Super Saiyan for a decent amount of time. Now, here's the thing. Certain characters gain Super Saiyan at certain times. Because of this, each character's Super Saiyan could be a different thing. Goku's Super Saiyan could be, in theory, weaker than Vegeta's, or that could have been the gap that closed them. That's why when Goku gets beat by Android 19, Vegeta's able to completely sweep 19, regardless of the heart virus. Because Vegeta's Super Saiyan makes him about as strong, if not stronger, than Goku, because Vegeta's base form was debatably stronger than Goku's base form because he had already been killed by Frieza once and brought back to life. Vegeta had faced near-death injury, which allowed him to more or less fight Final Form Frieza, but he was still losing against Final Form Frieza. So in theory, that if Vegeta were killed and then brought back to life, the Zenkai would overall give Vegeta the boost needed in order for him to stand a chance against Frieza, because Vegeta's power is now multiplied based on that fact. Now whether normal state Vegeta can beat Frieza at 100% perfect form is up for debate, but from what we can see, Vegeta's power at normal state was debatably higher than Goku's at normal state, because not only did Vegeta train longer, it was also the case of him dying from Frieza the first time. So in theory, if he had transformed Super Saiyan, he could have debatably been stronger than Goku. However, the Super Saiyan power increases your overall power by 50. Now let's dig into the other transformations for a minute. Super Saiyan 2 increases your power 2 times of what 50 is. Never thought you would really see so much math in Dragon Ball Z, but let's consider the base form as X, like a variable. The base form is X, which means that Super Saiyan is 50 times X. So whatever X is multiplied by 50, that's Goku's Super Saiyan transformation. Now let's add an even higher equation. Since Super Saiyan 2 is 2 times stronger than the average Super Saiyan, then Super Saiyan 2 is equal to 2 times 50 times X, meaning that it's already how powerful Super Saiyan is times 2. This makes a lot of sense when you consider that Gohan was able to mop the floor with basically all of the Cell Juniors and make little work out of Perfect Cell himself before Perfect Cell had ended up transforming into Super Perfect Cell. Meaning that in theory, Gohan at Super Saiyan 2 was more or less the strongest, not because he was stronger than Goku in base form, but because Super Saiyan 2 is a bigger multiplier and makes him automatically stronger based off the multiplications, not because of the base. So it could be stated that if Goku had turned Super Saiyan 2 during the fight against Cell, he could have debatably been way stronger than Gohan, based on the facts that Gohan's base form is not as strong as Goku. So, do you see what I'm really saying here? Super Saiyan transformations are based overall on the base form. It's only about as strong as your base form is. If your base form is strong and then you end up turning Super Saiyan, then your Super Saiyan transformation will make you strong as well. If you have a strong base, then that means your Super Saiyan transformation is better. It's basically you times more than what you are. A state in which you become a lot stronger than what you were already intended to be. I also want to point out some other things about Super Saiyan, or at least the transformations in general. If you ever notice something, you ever notice how most Saiyans will only be able to transform Super Saiyan when they come in contact with human-based emotions? Think about the Saiyans that transform Super Saiyan and why they transform Super Saiyan. For Trunks and Gohan, this is a very important quote that Trunks states in the history of Trunks. Trunks literally states, and I'm sorry, my accent is terrible, he goes, "Gohan, you're half Saiyan like me, right? You should understand what those people are feeling." He states that because half Saiyans are unique in a sense. Ever wonder why Gohan has always had these bursts of power that make him stronger than Goku and Piccolo, like in the fight against Raditz or Frieza? It's because Gohan has human emotion to add on to his already aggressive Saiyan power. Gohan, however, has emotions, which in theory should hold a Saiyan back, as Vegeta stated in a lot of the fights that the Z Warriors have been engaged in. He even states, and sorry for my accent again, "Kakarot, you're too soft. That's your problem." The thing about it is though, while humans do get held back by their emotions a lot, it's their emotions that overall make them more powerful. Ever seen a woman who's like trying to get her baby out from an upside down car or whatever, and notice that her strength somehow just multiplies by 1,000,000 and she's able to lift that car that seemingly she shouldn't be able to do? It's because her urge to save the baby and how much she cares about it is much stronger than her physical strength. So what I'm trying to say is that Goku's one of the first to transform Super Saiyan because, in theory, Goku is human. I know he's not human in the sense of the Dragon Ball Z canon. No, he's a full-blooded Saiyan. But the thing about it is, Goku was raised by humans. So he developed human emotions. Adaptability, excuse me for my language. Adaptability. Adaptability allows us to adapt to our overall surroundings. If you're exposed to a bunch of people that say that killing is okay, then you won't feel wrong about killing anybody. I mean, moralistically you should be, but once you're surrounded by enough people that just do it because, it doesn't mean as much to you anymore. And in Goku's case, Goku has been surrounded by humans that love and feel and have emotions and attachments because he was raised this way, as well as that head injury that he faced in the beginning of the series. Goku has been emotionally attached to several people like Gohan, Krillin, Chi-Chi, and then several others. So, naturally, the loss of one of his loved ones would definitely, like a human, make him very angry, furious to the fact of which even in a natural human realistic standard point, your power would increase in theory. Your anger would increase and make your muscle stature stronger. Even Vegeta has gained somewhat human emotions, albeit different types of human emotions. They were human emotions, which caused him to transform. Trunks ended up gaining human emotions off this as well in the history of Trunks, which allowed him to transform Super Saiyan as well, much like Gohan. So what I'm trying to say is that Gohan's overall burst of power that came out of nowhere actually came from the fact that he had human emotions mixed with Saiyan power. If you ever notice something, not just with Super Saiyan, but the rest of the transformations in general. Even Super Saiyan 2, Gohan felt the loss of Android 16, someone who's an android who cared about life, and Gohan was powerless to do anything to protect 16 because he was just too weak. The anger that swelled up inside him had caused him to explode and transform into Super Saiyan 2. You see what I'm getting at here? Human emotions are what trigger each of the Super Saiyan transformations. Not just Super Saiyan 1, but each of the transformations that lead up to Super Saiyan 4 or whatever. Don't discount Super Saiyan 4, it's dumb. Hell, even Super Saiyan God in the most recent movie. Notice how Shenron states that it takes 6 pure-hearted Saiyans. So, more or less, these Saiyans were more humanly attached. They had human-like emotions. While they were full-blooded Saiyans, they had human attachments, which makes me lead up to this next theory. What if Saiyans have 2 levels of power that are charged by 2 different types of things? Saiyans are like Spartans. They don't feel much emotion because emotion would hold them back in battle. So they developed ways to become stronger without the need of the human emotions. Which is why when Saiyans get their tails and turn into ape form or Uzuru as you will, they become beastly, and this is one level to get stronger, but they lose their sanity. The second way to get stronger is the human way, the Earthling method, the alternative method that the Saiyans probably dissed because they felt it was too soft. This method overall makes transformations into Super Saiyan possible. No wonder the Super Saiyan transformation is so legendary, because each of the Saiyans have long abandoned their human-like emotions. They've given up on being kind, because kindness more or less gets you nowhere in an overall fight. But in this situation, it helped. It got results, albeit it takes longer, but it got results. What I'm basically trying to say here is that if you notice that Super Saiyans 1, 2, and 3 all have the same motif of golden hair. Why? Because I think that these levels of Super Saiyan were more or less the Saiyans getting more in touch with their human-like emotional powers. Hell, why do you think the Saiyans look like humans? They may have been related. For all we know, the Saiyans could be the missing link. But this is all going into strange fictional theory. My overall theory of this all basically is that the Super Saiyan transformation, as well as all the other transformations leading after, are ending results of the Saiyans gaining human-like features. Long time ago, I believe that the Saiyans must have been more or less like humans. Now, I guess you should probably ask, well, what the hell about Broly? And I answer with this: what the hell about Broly? Screw him. Okay, sorry to you Broly fans. I'm just trying to state that Broly's condition is a bit different. Yeah, he's filled with anger, which sure enough could be a thing that triggers it, much like human emotion. But at the same time, Broly is a weird exception. I think his Super Saiyan is an overall trigger of a Down syndrome, if you will, or a condition. If you've ever watched Do Ra Ra Ra, you'll know that there is a character known as Shizuo Heiwajima, who basically has a disorder in which his muscle cells can keep growing, but at the risk of him hurting himself. Same with Broly. He just gets angrier and angrier and angrier, and the stronger he gets, and yeah, he's just a raging maniac. So that's my theory over that. But at its core, that's what I think about the Super Saiyan transformation. So what have we covered so far? We've covered that the Super Saiyan transformation isn't a level of power. You can't get so strong that you reach Super Saiyan. That's not the thing. 2, we've learned that Super Saiyan is based on whatever power your base form is. Meaning that if you're a really strong base form, and you could potentially be stronger than someone at Super Saiyan. And then we also learned that Super Saiyans may be the missing link to human emotion and Saiyan aggression. So, with that all said, that was my overall Super Saiyan theory video. Tell me what you think. Leave some comments. What do you think about Super Saiyan? And I'll acknowledge them. So with that all said, this has been the topic I've had. See you all then, everybody. Tyrone, the Guy 3, out.